Welcome to the Charleston Marketing Podcast, brought to you by the Charleston AMA and broadcasting from our friends at Charleston Media Solutions Studios. Thanks to our awesome sponsors at CMS, we get to chat with the cool folks making waves in Charleston. From business and art to hospitality and tech, these movers and shakers choose to call the Lowcountry home. They live here, work here, and make a difference here. So what's their story? Let's find out together.
Welcome to the Charleston Marketing Podcast. This is Mike Compton, president of Roombo Advertising and your president of the Charleston American Marketing Association. How are you folks today? I got Tom Kepler in the house.
How's it going, Mike?
Gosh, got Tom again.
Yeah.
We could not get away from you the first time.
I'm like a bad penny. I just keep coming around.
Oh, you shine up like a dime, though. Tom. You shine up like a dime.
I appreciate you, Mike.
We have Brenna Lawrence in the house today, folks, the Vice President of Business Development for Brown & Brown Insurance.
Hi, guys.
Hi,
Hi.
Brenna.
Hi.
You're the first insurance person we've had on the show this year.
I feel very safe.
Very seasoned.
What do you need? I got you.
How is it going in the insurance world as far as in the marketing side of things? Like, what is your job? What are you doing for Brown & Brown?
So my job is actually, it's funny, I was on the sales team, and a few years ago they asked me if I would do business development, and hand to God, I had never heard of that. So they told me about it, and I was like, that sounds made up. Like, you want me to do the fun part of my job, and I don't have to do the parts that are, like
the
make me wanna
actual.
punch myself. It's terrible. Like, I hate it. I hate arguing with carriers and vendors and negotiating renewals, and honestly, it's a lot of bullshit. And I don't like that side of it. So, so I ended up in business development, which is I get to go out, meet people, really make connections, open doors, and then I think of the insurance process, at least to get our business, as like a courtship. So I'm meeting people, developing relationships, and then I connect them with the best folks on our team to ultimately win the business. But my approach is very much I start with being human, and then hopefully find out their pain points, and then show them why our team is the best team to take care of it.
How are you filling your pipeline like that? Like,
how do I fill it?
Yeah. What are you doing to?
I mean, I talk to everyone.
Uh-huh.
Like my poor husband.
But
if we're
you're
in an
only
elevator
one,
with someone, he's like, "Don't do it, don't do it." I'm like, I have to talk to them though. Like, I literally am in an elevator. Like, there's got to be an
I'm
elevator.
the same
pitch.
way, Brenna. My wife hates it. I feel like Tom's similar to that too.
Sure. Yeah.
I can't have an awkward silence. I have to be some
you
sort of
never know
dad
who's
joke like the one I
there.
just made.
You
Yeah.
never know who's going to be anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, that's why you can't be ugly to strangers. 'Cause
100%.
You just never know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you're only one person, Brenna. How else are you getting out there? Like, are you doing a lot of social media? Are you doing like billboards?
So
like,
I live on
conventions?
LinkedIn. My husband calls my LinkedIn my professional
What's your
Facebook.
husband's name?
Jason.
Hi, Jason.
He's a saint.
Hi, Jason. The saint.
Wonderful.
Saint
Yeah,
Jason.
he's wonderful.
Terrific. Where is he from?
Really is. He's from New York. He's from
Saint
Saratoga.
Jason of New York.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. What's up, buddy? Hope to have some coffee with you one day.
Speaking of New York, you lived in New York, but
Yes.
you're not from New York.
No.
So I'm interested in how you made your way to Charleston. What's your origin story here?
So years ago, like the real truth is years ago, I got into a pissing contest with somebody about whether or not ligers were real, right?
Okay.
So stupid.
What was
Yeah.
real?
A liger?
Liger, Bredford
liger.
Skills and Magic.
Yes.
It's a lion and
Yes.
a tiger. If you've
Absolutely.
ever seen Napoleon Dynamite,
Right.
you're familiar with Liger.
Of course. But
So
how
it was-
smooth you said that just now, Tom, was just like,
That was clutch.
that was not scripted whatsoever.
So it was my ex, and we got into a pissing contest. And I was like, no, ligers are real though in real life. So this was before smartphones and things like that. So I looked it up, and I found this place in Myrtle Beach where he's infamous now, right, Doc Antle, but he was like
sure.
breeding tigers and lions and stuff.
Who now? What?
Tiger
No.
King throwback.
Yeah.
Doc Antle and Myrtle Beach.
The Tiger King?
He's the other
He's
other
the
tiger
other
king.
Tiger King.
The
Yeah.
other, I didn't know there was he's a liger king?
He's got ligers.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
So when
It's
that
one
happened,
Go on,
Liger.
keep talking.
Well,
Marketing podcast here,
what-
but that's okay.
what ended up happening was, though, I found out
Yeah.
that you could go to Doc Antle's place, right? And if you were selected, that you could go there and you could live there and raise a tiger or a liger or whatever it is. And for me, I was like, wait a second. Like, I was in a terrible relationship that I was trying to get out of, and I really saw this as like, there's no
This
overhead.
is your way out?
Like, yeah, it was my way out. I was like, I don't have to pay to stay there. Like, they're gonna
You were going to be the
me.
liger queen?
Right. It turns out that was a cult, right? I didn't know that at
Oh,
the time that was a cult.
Right, 100%.
But when I met my now husband, I was like, I wasn't trying to date anyone. I couldn't help it. And like, I met him and he was just wonderful. And I was like, listen, I don't know where this is going to go, but I'm going to move to Myrtle Beach and raise a tiger. And he was like, what? So I told him the plan. I'm like, yeah, they let you live there for free. You just can't leave for like 2 years. But like that makes sense because who's going to take care of your tiger, right?
Sure. It needs a continuity of care.
It made sense to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, and there's no drinking, no smoking, no drugs, no meat. He's like, what?
Well, wait.
I'm like, yeah, no, you can't. We don't eat our friends, right? So like, I don't know. You just don't eat meat. I don't care. If I'm not paying for dinner, I don't give a shit.
This is a real story.
Right?
Okay,
Yeah.
keep going.
So he was like, oh, that sounds like a cult. And I'm like, you would say that, right?
Right.
So
I see you. Yeah.
so I was like, well, we'll just see what ends up happening. And then I all the way fell in love and I was like, I don't need the tigers anymore. But when that documentary came out, I looked at him like, bro, you saved my life.
Yeah, you dodged a bullet, Brenna.
Like, yeah, twice.
Wow.
It was wild. So,
Holy smokes.
but then I know, I told you, you're not going to believe it.
I love it.
But then in the meantime, then my mom had moved to Charleston and I came to visit. And I was like, well, this seems like a nice speed. Like maybe, I'll live in Folly Beach and like live a hippie life. And that was my goal. And when Jason and I started dating, he came down to visit Charleston and he's like, oh no, I could live here. And I was like, all right, well, let's make it happen. Let's make it official. Like, I was like, we planned out our first 5-year plan. I was like, go ahead and throw a ring on it and then we'll get married and have babies and then we'll move to Charleston. It'd be great.
Yeah.
And I'll be damned if that's not what happened.
Fantastic. Way to script it.
Yeah. I
Right.
didn't know I was manifesting back then. I didn't
Yeah.
realize it.
Yeah.
So I'm
Good
getting
for
better
you.
at it now.
The
Yeah,
best
good.
origin story yet. And we've done origin stories like every episode. We find out where people are from. That was the
Yeah, we've never had a
Yeah.
liger on this
No.
program. Yeah. So
No.
Yep.
build it
but
for us.
thankfully
Tried to
this
join a
guy,
club.
what's his name again? We don't know the Liger King's name.
Oh, it's Doc
Doc
Antle.
Antle.
I don't know if we're allowed to say that.
Oh, we can't say Doc.
I mean, it's like Voldemort.
I don't
Can we
know.
say his name? I don't know.
Is
He's
he-
still in the news. So.
Oh, he is.
Oh yeah.
Oh, maybe we'll get some hits for it. Clickbait.
Hashtag.
Brenna, we didn't get you on the show to talk insurance. You know what I mean?
Right, that's okay.
We really didn't. I'm sorry. As much as we do love Brown and Brown, and
Appreciate
you
it.
know, check them out if you need some insurance. Brown
Yep.
and Brown.
If you need something, I got a guy.
She's got a guy, and that's her thing. That's
My
her thing on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
What we really wanted to talk to you, what I was inspired about when we did our virtual was, and we met through mutual friends and through LinkedIn and through the community and through our marketing community. And they said, you got to talk to Brenna. And I'm like, okay, cool. You have a TED Talk.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what inspired me was how you got to your TED Talk, not so much what your TED Talk was. We'll talk about that, but more the fact that you are yourself. You're Brenna. You do VP of development for an insurance, but then you also put yourself out there in front of an audience.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do that. I feel like that's in my near future, but I need to get so you inspired me to think about more of that side of things. So I'm like, let's just have you on the show.
I love that.
And let's talk more about how you overcame that fear, and then we can talk, obviously talk about the
Okay.
content.
So I guess the way it came up for me was when I started at Brown and Brown.
It
was
you started Brown and Brown when? When did you start at Brown and Brown?
2018, 2019.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Getting blurry. 'Cause I'm getting old.
Well, pre-pandemic is blurry. Pre-pandemic. Say that.
Well, so I knew I wanted the job. I mentioned I wanted to move down here to Charleston. I was working in insurance at the time, and then found Brown and Brown.
Yeah.
And that was actually my first long sale. So I found the operations director on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And I hit him up, and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna come and work for you." And he was
First
like,
long sale. Let's
Yeah.
repeat that for the people in the back.
"It was my first long sale.
Okay.
My first courtship
to
to get business.
takes a long
basically.
time to get business.
So I didn't realize at the time, but
Yeah.
I had reached out and I said, "Hey, I'm going to come and work for you." And meanwhile, I'm barely pregnant with our second, and I knew I didn't want to get on the road, being pregnant and all the things. So, but I wanted to like plant the seed. So I was like, "Hey, I'm going to come work for you in like a year."
Yeah.
And he was like, "All right, weirdo." Like, right? Like I didn't apply. Like that's strange. And I was like, "Well, you're going to end up with a spot. So like, just keep me in mind."
Yeah.
And then I would call him once a month. And I remember at one point he was like, "What is it that you need?" And I was like, "I just want to be relevant. I
Just
want you to
want to say
remember
hi."
me."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Okay." So then after I had our second, Ryan Rose, I called him up and I was like, "Okay, let's go out to lunch. Like bring a friend." So he brought someone from the office. I met them. And then I tell people I didn't make them hire me, but I did force them to interview me because I wouldn't leave them alone. So I was like, "Okay, bring somebody else. When can I come by the office? Like, let me shadow."
Smart.
And
I
then
love this.
it was, it felt great. And the big point that I was trying to do, like I was trying to avoid filling out an application and having like a shitty kind of history. I worked in, not that it was shitty, but I worked in food and bev my whole life. Basically, I had just gotten into insurance. I was very worried about looking like a job hopper, or that I didn't have, I don't have formal college education. Like I went to college, I got into college, and I dropped out.
Okay.
And
Where,
I was
where did you
afraid
try to
if
go to
they
college?
asked. I got into all of my colleges.
Of course.
I tried to go like 4 times, but it was a combination of being young and knowing everything and working at bars. And
those 20s, man.
it was a blur. I was a straight asshole that whole time. But the most recent college I had been to was a community college.
Sure.
Before I was just like, okay, this is just, I'm too busy. It's just not going to happen.
Are you
but
good?
I was
So
afraid.
do you have your bachelor's now, or?
No.
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 Nice.
I'm good now. Yeah.
Do you want to ever go get? Because I'm thinking about getting my master's.
I mean, I think if it is directly related to what you're trying to do,
Sure.
then yes. But I mean, I found myself in a position like I have an uncapped income potential. So I don't need to pay to go to school. If I wanted to perform surgery, I would say go to school in the U.S., please.
Right. Right.
But,
Good point.
for me, like I'm not. But I try to be careful with my girls because I don't want to tell them you have to go to school to do what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Unless it's the truth.
No, we're developing career ready kids here.
Yes.
You don't have to go to college or anything like that. Just
You don't
be
have to.
a citizen.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. And my track is education, so that's why I'm getting my master's. But
that makes sense then.
Yeah.
That's different. As I was saying, the big reason I
so
wanted
you're
to
there
avoid
doing
that,
business development for an insurance company,
Mhm.
and you see a TEDx. How did you get inspired? How did you get involved with like?
So the reason that ended up happening was we set internal goals every year, and one of my goals we have 5, and they have to be SMART goals, right? So they're
I like dumb goals. Not my goals are dumb. That's just
every year. I mean, I take it really seriously. Like I'm a self-proclaimed culture queen at the office. Like I'm intense about it. Like I love what we have and what we do. And our boss, who won't actually let us call him the boss, he is our leader, right? And we all work together.
He makes you call him leader?
No, he is a leader. He's our leader. But if you
There's
say
pictures
like,
on every door.
Call me leader.
no, but like I went past his office one day. I was like, "Hey, boss," and he literally stopped me. He's like, "I'm no one's boss. We work together." And I was like, "Kind of a boss." That you said that.
To your leader.
Like, that's cool.
Like, oh my god. Anyway, sorry. Stupid.
But anyway, of the 5 goals, I always pick one that scares the crap out of me.
Okay.
Because as I was saying, I can do hard things, and things like that make me better. So
Can you talk about the other goals that you had that were less scary?
yeah, well, they were scary to me, right?
Yeah,
I'm afraid of needles. So one year it was I'm going to donate as much blood as possible.
Okay.
Because that forces me to like be accountable.
Sure.
And I'm competitive, so I was like, how much can I do it?
And then you got tattoos.
I already had the tattoos,
Well,
but it's like fun to get a tattoo, and it's like, but at this point, plus tattoos are expensive. So
okay.
I
And
kinda
you're
laid
doing
off
the
on
world
that.
a favor by
I
giving
am.
blood.
I've
so...
saved at least a short bus worth of people at this.
Okay.
But so one year it was that. One year is like I found out after we moved here, like I'm low key afraid of bridges, so I'd be like white knuckle driving over the Ravenel.
Okay.
So I challenged myself to like walk the bridge with the kids as much as possible and like just immerse myself in whatever it is that I'm afraid of. So along that same time, like when I was saying I got the job at Brown & Brown, and I was afraid that that they were going to find out that I didn't deserve to be there, because that was the first time I had imposter syndrome. Like I'm sitting in a conference room with a bunch of guys, and frankly, most of them are a good 10 years younger than me. They were very successful, and I was like, I did it. And then I was like, shit, like what am I doing
Here I am.
Like what they're going to find out. Like I'm, and you just feel like you're going to get outed. Like it was weird.
Yeah,
And
that's what imposter syndrome does.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Well, then I discovered, I was like, oh, I have that. And I was like, yeah, that's a step. We don't live there. So like we have it. And then
Accept
whatever
it.
That's making us
See
see,
it. Yep.
and then we move forward as fast as possible, because
Yep.
I don't think anyone wants to live in imposter syndrome. Like that blows.
Right.
So
It does.
horrible.
It blows.
It
That's
does,
a technical
yeah.
term.
it is. Yeah.
We're psychiatrists here, by the way.
Well, to that point, so I'm in the room, and I obviously want people to look at me and when I'm speaking and be respectful, and then they would, and I was like, like it made me so nervous all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So it was like first thing in the morning, especially on Mondays, we have our Monday morning huddle. I would be first person at the office. I couldn't eat anything. I had sweaty hands. Like I was a mess, and I was like, I cannot get good at this job if I can't even talk to my peers. And like I work my ass off to get here. So like now what am I gonna do? So a girlfriend of mine had invited me down to Disrupt HR, which here in Charleston, it's downtown. It's at the American Theater. It is
I need more. I need to know more about that. I need to dig into Disrupt HR.
Here in like each place where Disrupt is, someone owns the license.
Yeah.
In Charleston, it's put on by Catch Talent, and that's Christina
Oh,
Locke
we
and
talked to
Shad
Christina.
Norman. She's a boss, man.
The Mount
She's a
Pleasant
powerhouse.
Building Business podcast. We talked to Christina. She is a boss.
She's incredible.
Yeah.
She really is.
Very cool.
So they put on a legit party in the spring and in the fall,
Okay.
and they do Disrupt down here. So I went to it, and it's at the American Theater. There's a bar in the back. I had a couple beers, and I was like, "Oh, this scares the crap out of me. I got to do this."
Yeah.
So
You're like, give me some of
yeah,
that.
yeah. I was with my
frightened right
husband, and
now.
I was like, "This is it." And he's like, "I was like, this is my last goal for
You're
the year.
a fear
Like, I need to
junkie
do this
in a
one."
different way.
In like a friendly way,
Yeah.
make me better way.
Yeah.
So then I
Great.
sobered up, right, and applied, and I was really hoping that they weren't going to pick me, because then I could be like, I tried, and then they
Right.
picked me, and I was like, shit,
Yeah.
now I got to do it.
Right.
But I ended up doing. I've done a lot of disrupts now. I've done about, by the end of the year, it'll be a dozen.
What does it entail?
So it's a 5-minute talk. You get up on stage. You have 20 slides, and the slides change every 15 seconds. So you put together your slide deck, right, like the cool kids.
Yeah.
And then and they change every 15 seconds, and it can't be a pitch. So you're not selling anything. You're not talking about your work, and you can't brand anything. Like nothing could have Brown and Brown on it. But I always talk about something that has to do with mindset that is
Okay.
applicable to work and at home, because that's how I live. Like
Yeah,
I
you're
try
good
to
at that.
do things.
That's your
achieve
wheelhouse.
that.
Mm-hmm.
But then, so I did that for a while. And then the next thing was, in the meantime, the Helm, which you know about, is the Executive Mothers Group here in Charleston.
No, I did not know about the Helm. Now we
you
do.
know about the Helm? The Helm
Of course, Tom knows about the Helm.
Yeah.
He's a gentleman.
Well, the Helm is fantastic.
Okay.
So
And it's called the Helm.
It's
And
called the Helm.
Okay.
So it's basically, it's a group of executive women that are running the show at the office, whether it's their own business, the department, whatever it is, and then running the show at home, because most of the time moms end up kind of default just
CEO.
running the show,
Yeah, yep.
and which is fine.
Yeah, CEO of the house. for
But
sure.
it ends up like women like myself are either, we want to talk about the kids at work. This is how the founder, Amy Sasakaitis, who her and her husband own Low Country Case and Millwork. The way this came about was someone had actually said, "Oh, Brenna, you should get to know Amy. Like you'll really like her." So when I first met her, I was like fangirling, like I could barely talk.
Yeah.
And she had put up a post on LinkedIn, like, who would be interested in blah, blah, blah. And she kind of explained it, where if I'm at work, I want to talk about the kids and my home life. And like, there's not really an audience. And then if I'm on a play date, I want to talk about work and the things that are going on.
Yeah.
And neither of these felt like home.
True.
So she built a table where like we all sit. So it's talking about growth pains at work and talking about a preteen daughter who is adorable, and that like you shouldn't take the obnoxious things that she says personally.
Sure.
Right? Like mine.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that came together, and while that was going on, that's how I met Tasha Connors, who is with My Sister's House. She's the CEO at My Sister's House, which is a domestic violence advocacy group. And we were having a one-on-one, and it's hard to switch off the business development. So we were talking, and towards the end of it, I was like, okay, so how can I help? Like,
Yeah.
what can I do? And that ignited the TED Talk. That later turned into why I focused my TED Talk on what I did. But during that conversation, I learned that her husband, who is an author and a keynote speaker and an executive coach, when I found that out, I was like, oh, hold on a sec. Like, this is what I'm doing. How do I level up? And that's when she said, you have to find your audience and figure out how you're going to serve them. And I didn't realize how important that was going to be to me later. So I was like, that sounds prolific. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah.
And then when I talked about her cause, I'm like, well, what can I do for you guys? And that's when she said, a major issue is that sponsors don't want to be that number one top sponsor because it's domestic violence and because of the stigma attached and all these things. And then that became my like aha moment.
Yep.
When I was trying to put together my TED Talk, because the year before I had applied and I wanted to talk about neutral thinking, because that was my first really like dive into mindset, and I felt like it was such a game changer for me that I was like, oh, this will help everyone.
Yeah.
I'm going to spread the word, and it just didn't have enough. So in the meantime, when we were talking, and I was like, well, how can I help? And this is why we don't get help that we need. And I was like, well, that's messed up. Y'all need help. And then and it hit me that I was pissed that some people somewhere didn't want to talk about things that made them feel feelings,
Yes.
is related to domestic
Welcome
violence.
to America, right?
Yeah. Well, I like heard myself say it, and I was like, well, we don't lead with domestic violence. Like, who would? And I was like,
Somebody that.
I was like, I wouldn't. And I was like, that makes me part of the problem because I have a history of it. And that was when all these things, like it like all came together. It was wild because it made me feel like I'm doing the right thing. I'm on the right path, talking to the right people. And then when that opportunity happened, like I was like, this is what it feels like to be called to do something. Like,
Yes.
it's weird when it happens, but you're like, well, I don't have a choice except to like do my best to make it happen.
Love that.
So that's how that happened. It was pretty crazy.
How did you go about developing your vision of the audience and the talk itself? What was that process like for you?
So again, I have to go back to the Helm because I had two of the moms that were in the Helm, or at least like around those circles, as my friend LB Adams and Natalie Hoff, and they had both given TED Talks and been involved in that. So I'm all about using my resources. So I had meetings with both of them, and I was like, coach me through the application part, because like if I can get through the initial paper applications and I can get in front of someone, I know that I can sell this. But I just like help me not put the wrong stuff in these applications, because hundreds of people apply. And I wanted to I was like, just get me in front of a human, like I will be able to do it. So so they both coached me, and it was interesting because their styles are very different. So but I found it helpful that this one, they both know me, so this one was like, you should do this, this, and this, and make sure you're not forgetting these parts of yourself, you know what I mean, like and pulling out that authenticity. And then Natalie would say, don't make too many jokes, like what you're talking about is heavy. So it was a really good way for me to pick from what I would say was like really great advice from people who know me, who give a shit.
That's so important. It's like the most important thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
having those people to bounce ideas off of and get mentorship from. And
yeah. Well, mentorship's huge, and there's no point asking somebody, like if you ask advice from someone who doesn't give a shit, like what's the point? Of asking them advice?
Yeah, you're not going to get advice that's of any value at all.
No, they could just like chaos.
The other thing that strikes me, you have to have coaches and allies and people in your corner. But in order to do that, you've got to do some inner work as well to arrive at that place of authenticity. I'm interested to know what you dug into for yourself, what wells you found within yourself to power you to do this incredibly powerful speech.
I appreciate that. I think what I would say is, because ironically, I tried to start up with a therapist when this was going on. Some of the people close to me were like, you probably should like pick this up. Because it's always good to have somebody to talk to. And for the longest time, like I'm a huge proponent of like, have a bestie that doesn't suck, right? And call your bestie. So I have a standing call with Holly May Monday through Friday at 7:30. We talk every morning. Literally, we answer the phone, hey bestie, hey bestie. And I always say that Holly knows the file because she's known me for more than 10 years. So like she knows all the things. And she's my safe place. She also gives good advice. She gives a shit. So I tried to find a new therapist, and that process was a nightmare while it was going on. And I was like, I'm trying, God, like I'm trying to do the thing and like protect my mental wellness, but like I feel like I'm getting signs that like I don't need to, or I can't just focus on that right now. So I would say I don't know that I would suggest for folks to try to do what I did without getting some help, because it was heavy, and there were some days that I cried a lot. Like it was just hard, like reliving old memories and kind of going through things and reminding myself that what I'm doing is, and I say this in my TED Talk, is because I get to do it. Like I'm here, like I have the nerve, and I'm, it's not just being brave enough to say hard things in front of people, but it's scary because I'm not exactly on good terms with my ex, and it's not that he knows, like I don't know, like I hope he doesn't, kind of thing. Like it's like a haunting feeling. And people that know me are like, well, he would never show up. I was like, you have never slept next to crazy. Like, you don't know what that's like. So in that way, like, that was legitimately scary, that, like, I hope he doesn't show up, But the rest of it was, in my mind, it was really easy because I'm looking at my little girls. Like, if somebody had this conversation with me or been brave enough to have this conversation, it would have been different. Like, we didn't have any meetings in the auditorium about red flags and safety around relationships and things like that, but I'm not saying to get rid of like the snakes and things that they bring in and show the kids, but like maybe talk about something else that like is important. Safety
and then what does that look like? Maybe you can help come up with that curriculum and what that would look like. That conversation with the kids.
So what I am able to do now, thanks to Tasha and my sister's house, is actually we're putting together, I say we, it's really them. They're doing all the work.
Well, you're part of it too, I'm sure.
Just the mouthpiece. But that the idea is that people know that that My Sister's House and groups like that are available and they're around, but it's ironic that like the people who need it, that they don't think of it, and that the information isn't actually readily available. So we started talking about this about a year and a half ago, but we're targeting certain industries. So for me, in my example, I'm targeting the hospitality industry because I feel like food and bev are my people.
Sure.
That's where I came from. And unfortunately, there's a huge instance of, you know, abuse, whether it's like substance abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, like all of that is going on inside that industry.
100%.
So I'm trying to meet with leaders in those industries to get in front of them and to talk about, this is what happened to me. This is what it looks like. This is how you can help, and this is how you can provide information for your folks.
Yeah.
Because they're not all going to come and talk to whoever's in HR like, hey, I'm having this issue.
No.
You know, and when you think about it, it's not people that are like low on the totem pole only. It's not just the C-suites. Like, it's everyone, and anyone can have these problems. So I'm actually speaking at the Charleston, the CVB. They're having their quarterly roundtable next week. So I'm going over there. I was invited to speak to them and tell my story and then provide resources to people. And the idea is like, if you just put it everywhere, then hopefully someone who needs it can quietly get their help without being
surround
having
somebody
to be
with
afraid.
the message. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the key to marketing, right? And
Yeah.
so if we're marketing an idea, it's the same fundamental concepts of surround somebody with it until they realize, oh, that suits me, that fits me, that resonates with my story, and I should take advantage of that. But until you see it 3, 4, or 5 times, especially in the digital age, it's not going to resonate that, oh wow, maybe I really need this.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many little things that can be helpful as far as getting that information somewhere. Like, I saw it randomly, like, well, I guess it's not random, but I was at the OBGYN's office. You know, you go in the bathroom, you have to pee in the thing.
No, I had no idea about that. That's new.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is
That's the
so
first thing you
fun
do.
being a girl, let me tell you.
Okay, good to know.
Like, if we can do a whole freaking podcast on
Well,
like
we
how
can start
fun
a
it
new
is to be a
podcast.
girl.
How about that? A whole
Yeah.
new podcast.
And we're going to call This Is Bullshit.
Let's call this is bullshit. I love it.
Yeah.
Let's start.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're gonna
Rachel's
do
in?
that.
All right,
Rachel's in.
Rachel's in. You have a
but
co-host.
There was and I'm not gonna give it away, but
Can I be on that? I don't think I can be on that. Can I? Can I be on
Yeah,
that?
because y'all need to be educated
Oh, good point.
on the stuff. But there's a way that a patient can let a doctor or a nurse know if they're in an unsafe situation that is confidential. And like the first time I saw that at the OBGYNs, I was like I was moved because I was like, this is what we need. Like, we need this. We need like phone numbers and bathrooms and things like that that are not for a good time, but you know, to get some help. So things like that I think are incredibly helpful. And then the other side of that is educating people that would be advocates so that they know like good and bad things to say. You know what I mean? Like, obviously calling someone out in front of everybody, like that's not helpful if you put someone on blast because they have a mark. But things like, and I say this in the TED Talk, we don't ask questions like, well, why do you take it? Why don't you leave? Like, first of all, it is super complicated.
Yeah.
And it's not easy for someone to just be like, all right, let me just unpack all the things. And the other side of that is when you're neck deep in it, you don't know a lot of times and you don't realize it. You don't realize that you're in trouble. Like, you really think, and speaking for myself, like I really thought if I could just be better and like, you know, say the right things and do the right things. And that's because I was going through like a decade of being gaslit and like physically punished if I didn't like do something right, you know? So
Ugh.
it's really hard to ask somebody
Sorry you had to go through
who's
that.
like in the middle of being brainwashed, like, well, why don't you just not be brainwashed? It's like, because I'm broken right now and I may or may not know that I'm broken.
Right.
So that fuels me to help people to say, you know, this is what we can do for the people who may or may not realize that they need help, you know? And it's just, there's not a clean cut and dry way to do any of it. So you have to like use your brain and remember that you're dealing with humans.
Yeah.
That's really
Well,
the base of it.
and there's a correlation here of you doing scary things, speaking up on behalf of survivors of domestic violence, taking the stage and delivering a speech that's both deeply personal and deeply moving, and also all the networking you do. Like, all of these 3 things are related to you daring yourself to do things that scare the daylights out of you. I'm wondering if you can put yourself in the shoes of a younger version of yourself and give yourself some advice that might resonate with our audience, who are maybe they're new to town, Maybe they're fresh out of one of the colleges here. Maybe they're undergoing a career switch. They're doing something scary, especially young women. What advice would you give them?
So I love that question. And what I would say is definitely the idea of like fake it till you make it. I feel like we're not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
So instead of faking it till you make it, we show up how we want to be and we just start living that life. So for me, that's being authentic and recognizing that when you're authentic, you're a magnet. So people are going to be attracted to who you are when you're being yourself, and that's going to put you in the best places for your success, in my opinion. You have to let go of the people who are like, that's too much. It's like, by all means, like, go. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm too much, you know the saying, right? Go find less.
Yeah.
Like, go for it. But I would say that we have to show up who we want to be, and we have to walk that walk every day. And then as you're doing that, then you realize you're like, this is who I am. I'm not faking it. I'm not trying to be someone else. Like, I'm showing up, I'm taking up space, and at the same time, I'm being brave enough to fail. Because that's the hardest part, is people are like, I don't want to look stupid. It's like, okay, but what if you do? Like, it's okay.
You
like,
took a
everybody
chance.
does like some cringy shit. Like, we all do it. Like, it happens. But it's like, you have to forgive yourself, give yourself some grace, and move forward. And as long as you're not repeating the same like cringy mistakes, like, I think it's okay.
Yeah.
But even if it's not, like, it's also still okay.
Yeah.
Like, nothing. What are they going to be like? You can't come to this networking event because you're a weirdo. Like,
Yeah, because you're cringe.
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Well, and this reminds me too of you saying earlier in the conversation that you're a culture queen, right? And so, you know, showing up authentically with your whole self to work. I feel like that was a big movement for corporations for a while, and there's been a considerable amount of pullback on that recently. How do corporations sort of trend proof themselves and create a culture that is inclusive, you know, to survivors of domestic violence, to women, to people of color, to people with disabilities? How do we do that in the modern era?
you know, that's a really hard question, because I would say my first instinct is like, when I say like show up and be who you are, the caveat is don't be a dick. Like, and that's our family motto. Like, Team Lawrence is don't be a dick. Yeah. And our kids are 8 and 10. They know they're not allowed to say it at school. They say don't be a jerk. But in real life, they're like, don't be a dick. Yeah. So that means hold the door, return the cart, like all the things, right? But it's say please and thank you. But I feel like that umbrella of like, I show up how I am, and I know that I'm not being a dick. So if everybody doesn't like me, I'm 100% okay with that. So I feel like on the corporate side, when you're like, well, you know, we want people to be who they are, but it's like, yeah, but if you're a dick, like,
right.
if you come in and kind of, if you're going to take advantage of it, and if you're going to be the bad apple, like, you're putting people in a bad place. But I feel like that's when our leaders need to be like, that's over the line. And you need to have constant communication and open communication. But to that, I would say I'm a huge fan of radical candor. And that's where I care enough to say the hard things. So if I want everyone to come as they are, like, by all means. But if you show up and it's like the bad apple, like, I don't know an example to say like the way this person shows up, but it's like, you cannot be an energy vampire. You can't suck the joy out of a room. Like, can't do stuff like that, because you're hurting everybody. Right. So I think you need people to, if you have that open communication, if you have that radical candor, then people know what's acceptable and what's not. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I might wear jeans on a Friday, but I'm not going to show up in sweats just because I can do my job in sweats. Like, that'd be a dick move.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
You get me every time. That'd be a dick move. It's all about being human, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, just being human. Growth and mindset is something that you touched on just now too. Can you talk a little bit more about that? And it's funny, not funny, it's kind of comical when because what you're saying is a lot of what our kids are going through, and it's also a lot of what's going on the corporate side. So it doesn't end, and it starts so young. Yeah. So the imposter syndrome starts so young. The I don't want to be, laughed at. Yeah. Starts really young, and it doesn't end. No. For our whole. So, it's there's a lot to unpack what I'm talking about right now, and I feel like you're doing that though on your Instagram. And where else can we find you on YouTube? We need to do some YouTube.
So my video from the TED Talk is on YouTube.
Video from the TED Talk.
And then I actually went in and signed up or whatever, like got a YouTube page so I could share the video.
Good.
But if I'm being really honest, the reason that I signed up was because I was checking my video to see how many, views I had.
Okay. Of course.
Everybody's going to do that.
Yeah.
But somebody had commented, and they commented on my language. And,
because
that
you
I
say
shouldn't...
being a dick a lot or something?
No,
like
in the TED Talk. Like I said, I say pissed off
right.
at one point, and I say at the end of it, put that shit down.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
Yeah, and she was like, you could have done it without that. And I was like, first of all, that's
comments.
what you got from that message.
Literally
like,
got her attention.
Like I did, but I was like, and initially I was like, hold on, I'm going to log in. I'm going to have a piece of my mind, or give her a piece of my mind. And thankfully it was a kind of a pain in the ass to register and stuff. So by the time I did, I was a little calmer. But she's like, you should choose your words carefully, blah, blah, blah. So by the time I calmed down and commented, I was like, I did. And like I said what I said on purpose. And like that's what I did.
Yeah.
But I do technically I'm on YouTube now. But I have, as I said before, I'm on all over LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I actually have like a backlog of stuff that I'm up to that I have to like share on Instagram and on LinkedIn. My husband calls it my professional Facebook, but it is like
exactly.
I much prefer LinkedIn to hearing about headaches and laundry, on Facebook.
Right.
That sucks. But I'm all over that. I'm all over Instagram.
And it sounds like you're normalizing that whole family work talk too on Instagram, right? Because we hear a lot about the stories with your kids.
Yeah.
Kind of work-life integration rather than balance.
Exactly.
So it's sort of this is the whole of Brenna, and this is your personal brand, regardless of what medium we're seeing you on.
Yeah. Well, it's like I say it's like I bring my girls to a lot of chamber events. I'm involved with the Chamber of Commerce, and
I
bring them
Chamber
to
of
those.
Commerce?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And I brought them to events. They've come to see me speak several times at this point.
Nice.
And it was actually my husband, St. Jason. It was
St.
his
Jason.
idea.
New
We were
York.
going to a disrupt one night, and I was speaking, and he was like, we should bring the girls. And I was like, what's that? Nobody brings kids. And he was like, this is like your whole thing, Bren.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, no, you're right. So we ordered them blazers, and they came.
Cute.
And they came down to disrupt.
I love this.
But then I like fully embrace that, right? So like I'm a working mom, and it's part of my nonviolent protest to show up with my kids and be like, well, who's watching your kids? Because like I'm doing all the things. So I'm showing them what it looks like to be a boss, how it works, how to interact with other people.
So important.
So as a rule, like they don't have phones and things like that. And I'm going to hold out as long as I can, but I will not be dismissed for technology in my own house.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I'm talking, I need eyes at me, not looking at the giant
like
TVs and things like that. So I'm trying to teach them to be able to hold their own when they're out and about. So they have to order their own food and be polite and things like that. But I mean, they're not incompetent. They're just little people. So they have to learn all the things.
And they want to learn the things.
Yeah.
The kids want to be a
Oh,
sponge.
they love it. I'm super Grace. She wants her own YouTube. She's like, can I do a disrupt? I was like, I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Like, let me talk to who I can and see how we can get you up on stage.
Dig
because,
in.
like,
That's
I don't
awesome.
see why not.
Yeah, we used AI. I forget which platform it was to create Happy Henry's YouTube channel.
Yeah.
He's 9. He wanted to do Happy Henry. He wanted to do a YouTube channel on Fortnite and other things that make him happy.
Yeah. Well, see, I was being a smart ass because the kids. I said to the girls, I was like,
We're close.
thinking about Christmas and stuff. I was like, well, what if we go somewhere that has snow for Christmas? Like, wouldn't that be fun? And my oldest was like, yeah, we should go to Colorado. I was like, get a job. Like, go to Colorado. Like, I'm talking North Carolina. Like, I was going to drive somewhere that had like a little bit of snow.
Right.
But like my bougie baby is like, we should go to Colorado. And I was like, we should.
Told her to get a job.
Yeah.
So I was like, get a job. And she was like, I want a job. You won't give me a YouTube channel. And I was like, nope, I won't. Like, not yet.
I know, not yet. Exactly.
I don't know if I have the bandwidth for all that, but I might as well. She could probably teach me a couple of things.
I know, right? Well, you're really good at, and part of what my imposter syndrome is too is speaking in front of people. So that's inspiring that you overcame to that, and then also seeing you. I'm having trouble talking to the phone, talking to the cell phone.
Do you want a trick?
No, yeah. I'm sorry. I thought you were saying, do you want to try now? And I'm like, no, I don't want to try now. But what's the trick to talking to the cell phone?
So do you know Erin Kinzel, the Erin Kinzel?
Of course.
So she's
Did you take
fabulous.
her thing?
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah,
I took her class. It was
she's so
awesome.
smart.
She's
Eric
so good.
Elliott took her class. A bunch of other people I know took her class. She was a guest on the podcast.
She
as well.
did. She did a TED Talk too.
She did.
talked
Of course she
about
did.
her
Yeah.
Power of the secret power of introverts. Her TED Talk was cool as hell.
I bet.
But
Have you seen her auction yet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You-
She
we-
did it for
Oh,
she
shit.
did it for my sister's house, and I
Oh, really?
like, and I'm one of those like if if I meet you, like I met Amy and I was a fan.
Yeah,
and like
you
same thing
fangirled.
with Erin. Like she comes in and I like curtsy. I'm like, hi. Like I don't know my name.
You curtsied.
Like so impressed. I'm like that with Liz Ashley too. Like I'm just so impressed with what she does. She's just a powerhouse.
I don't
But
know
with
Liz.
in Erin's class, she says to put a Post-it, like you want to do the selfie cam, but she says to put a Post-it over it so that you're not looking at yourself and that you're just looking at the actual camera. But your videos come out way better when you do it like that. That's
Good
just
trick.
one little trip, but you have to sign up for her class to get the rest.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
and
nice
people
of you.
aren't seeing your eyes go back and forth between the camera and looking at yourself.
Yep.
You know.
No, that's exactly it. What do you remember? Look up Erin Kinsel. You'll Google her. Erin Kinsel, Charleston. You don't remember her class name?
It is the
Like-
Video Launchpad.
Video Launchpad. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
Yep.
Oh, all right, Brenna.
Yep.
Get yourself a friend like Brenna.
Yeah.
I am your resident girl. That's what I do.
That's all it takes,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
I didn't mind that.
Oh my gosh, we talked about a lot. Tom,
So,
I knew he had one.
yeah, it just strikes me. I saw your International Women's Day post on Instagram, talking to your kids about what International Women's Day means. How do you, there are a lot of our listeners who are parents of young girls, and how do you empower a little girl to be a corporate badass?
So I would say it's something that you do like all day.
Yeah.
So in our house, you will get in more trouble for negative self-talk than for cussing. Like, just to be very frank. I mean, if they tell me to F off, and we're probably going to have
We're gonna
words,
have.
but I'd be like, I'm going to fight you real quick.
Right.
But for real, if they say anything like I'm stupid, I'm not good enough, it's like, whoa, where did you learn that? Because like, I don't talk to myself like that. Like, we don't talk down to or about ourselves, and there's definitely no shit talking in between me and St. Jason. Like, we don't talk shit to each other. So things like that, like there's like a hard line where it's just absolutely unacceptable. We have a lot of mantras in the house. When do we do what's right? And it's like, all the time, every day. I'm like, whatever, like broken record, but like that's what we do.
Repetition makes for better patterns and
we
better
do
behavior.
what's right, not what's easy.
Yeah.
Like, and there's little quizzes, like I said, when do we do the right thing? It's like always. I'm like, does it matter if people are looking? It's like, no, Mom. I'm like, okay. It goes back to like, don't be a dick,
Yeah.
But as far as how would I like coach them up? Like I'm always, something easy is if they do something, if they color something, or if they like put together an outfit, no matter what I actually think, when they come out, it's like, what do you think? I'm like, what do you think? How do you feel?
Yeah.
And then when you ask them those questions, I'm like, tell me about your picture.
Yeah.
And then just the excitement with like, this is this and this little blob, this is the dog and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I think that's creative. I think it's whatever. I try to say things that are not like a qualifier as to whether or not it's good or bad.
Applauding the effort and the work that went into that decision, that outfit, whatever it might be, rather than the outfit itself.
Yeah.
Right?
So I'm very conscious of like always trying to like be a support system without them coming to me for a thumbs up or a thumbs down, because I feel like that increases their confidence. And the other part is I tell them, I'm like, where do you get your confidence? And the best is when they're like, from the girl in the mirror. I'm like, the girl in the mirror.
Oh,
absolutely.
Like, you get it from you. And the biggest trick is that we think that like if we do well, that people clap, and that's where we get our confidence from. We're sharing our gifts and people enjoy it, but our confidence comes from our preparation, our willingness to try, being brave enough to fail. That's where the confidence comes from. And when someone taught me that, I was like, say no more, fam. Like, that's what I've been waiting for this whole time. So when that happened, I was like, okay, well, if you're saying it's up to me, then like, I got to do it. It's up to me then.
Yeah.
And little things like I think, and I'll share this because I love how it turned out, but I was at the end of last year, the girls had a field trip, and I had promised to take them on the field trip. It was, we went to the salt marshes, I think. I can't remember the name of it. Not a great field trip person.
Yeah.
But anyway, there was a ton of kids there.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, they were trying to take a picture. And one of the other chaperones was a little bit older. And she was telling all the girls, like, get the girls down in front and do the sorority squat. And as a professional college dropout, I was never in a sorority. I was looking at mine like, stand up.
Right.
What are you doing? Like, stand up.
Yeah.
And then I looked at her and I told my girls, I was like, stand up. So they stood all the way up. And I'm like, you got to go in the back. I don't care. I was like, but no, you're not doing that. So when they came back, they're like, Mom, what's wrong? And I was like, first of all, we're not here to shrink.
Yep.
Like, we're not. So if you are in a sorority and you're,
all right.
But I mean, like, and I'm not trying to shit on sororities. Like, if you're in a sorority and that's the vibe, then like do that. But if there's a man standing up straight, stand up straight. Like, you don't need to shrink for anyone.
I
Absolutely.
think they were just bending down to, include people in the picture. Isn't that the sorority thing?
Maybe, but it was triggering for me.
Yeah,
I
it
was
was.
like, nah, dude. I was like, we don't shrink. And
love
like,
it. I
I've played
absolutely
sports
love
my
it.
whole life, and like now it's funny because my girlfriends will be like, you're the best cheerleader, and I'm like, it's so weird to hear that because like I wasn't allowed to be a cheerleader. It was like, if you want to be near sports, play the sports. So like that's what I did. But now it's I've gotten over it to where I actually embrace it's like I am like your hype girl. I'm a cheerleader. I'm also the friend. It's like if you ask me my opinion, like I'm gonna tell you the truth. Like you might not like it, but I'm that friend, and I'm proud to be that friend.
Speaking of friends, and this is something that Mike and I talked about on the last episode that
we're friends.
we
Tom.
did together.
We're friends.
No, well, on the last podcast episode we did together of Charleston being a town of collaboration, and you being a cheerleader sort of dovetails nicely into that. There's a lot of co-opetition that happens in Charleston, as I see it.
Yeah.
You've been here 10 years. Do you see this as a collaborative town or as a competitive town? And do you find more allies or adversaries here?
So I would say that I think that has to do with your perspective and like how you're running it. Because for me, it's very collaborative. But I don't mess with toxic people.
Yeah.
Like whether we're blood or not, like I do not F around with toxic people. Like I don't speak to either of my own parents for separate toxic reasons. And I'm a huge fan of boundaries. So I think when it comes to like, when you think about professional women in competition, I am a girl's girl. And I like, that's a big deal to me. So like, I am a girl's girl. I will always support you. I'll cheer for you. Like I tell people, if I love you, I will clap louder than your mama. Like I really will. But I don't support like toxic people. I don't support when people are dicks. And when it comes to like the backbiting and things like that, like I don't mess with it at all. So I'm very fortunate that I have the Helm mamas because there's about 50 of us now. Like it has grown from there were like 4 or 5 to now it's like we are a proper club.
That's
spectacular. We have
spectacular.
all the things. It's amazing. We're having our first summit it's in 2 weeks.
Summit.
It's on the 10th. Oh yeah. We are having our first all-day summit. We have a female-owned marketplace. We have bomb speakers. We have, all the things. And like, I heard we have an awesome MC too. Because
Probably you.
That's terrific.
Super excited.
Yeah.
But like, I know that I have this support group. So I would say that like my average day it doesn't suck. Like I have good people in my circles, but that's because I'm intentional with it. So, but like on the competition side professionally, it's funny because when I'm courting a prospect and when I'm like working on it, my mindset is very different, I think, even from a lot of the guys that I work with, because it's like, well, who's their broker? And I'm like, not gonna work here much longer. I don't know their name. I don't care. Like, I'm gonna get them fired. Like, that's my job is to get Brown & Brown hired and to get the other guy fired. So I don't focus on that. Like, I spend my brain power on that person that I'm trying to get to know. Like, what do they care about? What's their family dynamic? What are they interested in that I can invite them to and like make them a part of my circles? Because whether or not I get the business in the first 60 days or if it's going to be a couple years, like let me build that connection because in the meantime, like I'm helping myself, I'm helping my visibility and things like that. So I am highly competitive, but I don't get bogged down in the weeds. Like, well, how long have they been a broker and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's
Looking
not
at that long
important.
sail view,
Just
like
the
you were
long
talking about at the
sail.
beginning of the interview of like, this is about relationship building over time. This is not about quick sales and quick hits or stabbing somebody in the back.
Yeah.
It's about building a relationship that's durable over time. And when they have to make a decision about who their insurance provider is, they'll think of you because you've been there for them.
That's exactly what it is. And like when we get, I think we're starting to get more young women on the team, which is really exciting. We had 2 girls that were interns that graduated that come back and they're working for us now. But I have said in the past, because we've had a lot of young men come on and join the sales team, and as the only girl for a long time now, as I said, there's several of us, but I'll tell them, I'm like, guys, this is a courtship, right? So like your first meeting, like that's the first date. You work hard to get the girl out on that first date, right? But like, let's be real, like you don't want to go home with that girl that night because if she goes home with you, she'll go home with somebody else. Like that's not an ideal partnership. Like I'm just being honest because I'm talking to guys that just got out of college and I'm like,
Yeah, you gotta
hear me
come
out.
to the level.
Like you want every date, you want to have a reason to have another date and another touch point.
Yes.
But if you talk about yourself the whole time and you don't learn anything about them, they don't want to hang out with you anymore.
Yeah.
So like for me, that means like we don't focus on price. We don't focus on things like that. Like we focus on like, do they think of me when something comes up? Like that for me is a win.
Yep.
So if I have a prospect that's like, oh, hey, Brenna, I thought of you, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I'm in your head. I love that because that's my job. But it's my pleasure because I'm attracting people that I get along with, and it's just enjoyable. So even if we don't do business together, we can go to functions here in Charleston, and I'm enjoying being around other humans that don't suck, which is like a pretty good way to spend your
big
time.
Draw.
I mean, it could be worse, you know.
Perfect.
I'm very fortunate. I'm not chained to a desk. I think I'm very spoiled now. I don't think I could work at my desk all day, all week. I just wither and die. Yeah. It would not be good for me.
Well, we don't want that.
No.
Brenna, we don't. We need you. We need you to keep
that.
talking about that. You know, and spreading the love. You know, teaching your kids how to be not shitty humans.
Yeah.
You know, to be good humans.
I wish more people would.
That's the whole thing. That's what we all need. It's like a social responsibility to, you know, create these humans and to teach and educate as we all come up, because the world sucks right now, to be honest.
It's a little hairy.
Well, you know, there's some things in the news recently that today's a little hot, right? So,
absolutely. I mean, my
you know,
kids go to Catholic school and they're 8 and 10, so.
And they go to Catholic school.
Yeah.
And they're 8 and 10.
This week was hard.
Holy
scary.
Nikes. That's scary.
Yep.
We watched the news just real quick, and Craig cry, I cry type of thing. Like, you know, Craig from NBC News, the host next to Savannah. Sure. Craig, what's his name? He's from South Carolina. He choked up this morning.
Yeah.
And if he's choked, I'm crying for sure.
Sure.
Anyhow, we just need society and people to grow as humans and develop authentic people like you're doing. Yeah. So
well, I tell
kudos.
my girls, like, you're allowed to feel how you want to feel, you know, because they get mad and like, well, I'm blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you're allowed to feel however you want. You are not allowed to be disrespectful. Yeah. You're not allowed to like treat me in a way.
Right.
Like you have to feel your feelings. Like you're entitled to that. But like you can't shit on people because you're feeling in a way.
Yeah. Exactly. And to my point earlier, it goes all the way up to the 20s, you're young adults, and then it goes all the way up to the boardroom when you make that Brown and Brown insurance interview work for you after a long sale.
Yeah.
I think that just sums the whole thing up right now.
Nicely done, Mike.
I was like, but I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Oh, thank you.
And sharing your story. And I said sharing your story. These teeth are getting on my nerves. This slur brought to you by High Tide Orthodontist. I got trays on still.
I think you're doing pretty well with it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You heard me?
Yeah.
This time I was better?
Yeah.
In the boardroom, you couldn't hear me in the boardroom.
I can hear you even better in here than in the boardroom. The acoustics are fantastic.
Right. Speaking of that, Tom, good work.
Thank you.
Do you have any other questions? You're so poetic with your questions, Tom. This is only the second time
Oh, yeah?
co-hosting with us.
Yeah, I've done a little
background,
podcast work in the past, but second time for Charleston.
Exactly.
Nice.
Very pleased to be here in these beautiful studios.
Yeah.
I've got one question for you,
you
just to sum up things. You are a corporate badass. You're a mom. You're a public speaker. Stephen Covey always talks about the seventh habit of highly effective people is to sharpen the saw, right? So what do you do to sharpen the saw, to stay tuned in, plugged in, keep filling that cup from which you can share with others?
You mean like professionally or in general?
Personally, what do you do in your downtime to make sure that when you turn the switch back on, it powers up?
So I think actually this is very recent that and it almost came up before and we didn't talk about it, but I as a busy working mom, I think a lot of us are trying to chase a balance. And Amy from Low Country Case of Millwork from the Helm, she actually gave us all a book called Power Moms last year. So I would listen to it at the gym, and it was about women, in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and that they were in high power positions and what they were going through being working moms in spaces where it like wasn't really not accepted, but just, if you have a baby, it's like hurry up and get back to work. And the idea
wasn't accepted.
It
was
wasn't.
not accepted.
I mean, the idea of like having a baby and being back to work in less than 9 weeks is insane to me. Like your body has gone through too much. Like it's crazy. But one of the biggest things that I took away from that was sway. So instead of trying to chase the balance, because for me it felt like I was chasing my tail every day. because I am my own worst critic. At the end of the day, it's like, well, I could have done this better. I could have done that. Like, why didn't I do this? Why did I eat short with the kids? So instead, a sway, which is my word of the year, I have it on a name necklace, is if I'm at work, I am 100% tuned in and I'm like locked in right here at work. And if I'm home, then it's just home. And for a while I'd like work and then I have to leave early to pick up the kids. So then I'm like kind of working, kind of dealing with the kids between, like 3 and 5.
Yeah, exactly.
And as a result, I was like kind of not doing a great job at either because I was not really.
I feel like that sometimes too, right?
When you're like sitting on the couch and you're like, I'm not scrolling like I'm working.
Right. Exactly.
And my husband's like, yeah, you're working. I'm like, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm going to make money, blah, blah, blah. Like I'm working, I swear. But as of recently, I'm like, you know what? I need to be more intentional with it. So if I come home, if I have to pick up the kids early or whatever, I close the laptop and I'm just mom and I'm just focused on that. And I realized that I was trying to like outrun things that were irritating me instead of facing it. And years ago, I heard the story about the cows and the buffalo. Do you guys know the story with the
the old cow and buffalo sort? No, I don't know that story.
Damn it, Mike.
Seconded.
So like on the plains, right, wherever the cows and the buffalo all live, somewhere it's probably near Colorado, right? I don't know, somewhere where it's flat.
Right.
But when the storm comes over the plains, the cows will try to outrun the storm. And inevitably, the cows are in the storm longer because the storm's moving, and the cows is chasing them.
I can see
but
it
a
now.
buffalo will face the storm,
Yeah.
so the storm passes over the buffalo quicker.
Yeah.
And the first time I heard that, I was like, "Oh, that's my jam." So I had buffalo crap all over my office, right? Like, buffalo.
Cool.
Yeah, but then I forgot, and then I was like,
You forgot the story?
I forgot to be a buffalo.
Oh, you forgot to be the buffalo.
And I was a cow, and I was like, moo, and I was like in the rain, and it like hit me, and I was like, why am I not using my superpower on my family and on St. Jason?
Yes.
Like, because he works for the railroad, like he works his ass off all day, and there's no point in both of us trying to outrun, like, what's for dinner? Like, you have to make dinner. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
So I've been much more intentional as of lately to just kind of embrace. I don't want to say embrace the suck, but it's like embrace the thing that is stressing you out. But it's actually made me even more effective, like in a crazy way. Like really in the last couple of weeks, I was like, I have so many opportunities now and like connections and meetings with people that it's like they fell in my lap. But it's because I was tuned in here and then giving myself grace to be tuned in here.
Yep.
But my working time was so much more effective than it had been.
I worked with a guy
problem.
once upon a time who had a poster up in his cubicle that said monotasking, and initially when I saw it, I was like, "That's a bunch of phooey."
Easy now. Don't be cussing. Take it easy.
But it's exactly what you're talking about. It's focusing on that one task at a time rather than trying to do 15 in any given moment. And you're so much more effective if you can just monotask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like my husband tries to tell me, he's like, you're doing too many things at once. Like you're trying to throw laundry in and make dinner and do this. And I'm like, I'm doing all the things. But it's like, just do one thing. 100% and then move on to the next.
Says the man who works for a railroad system that goes one direction. Right? What a cool job that would be, though, huh?
I think he enjoys it. Right? He could not. He couldn't work in corporate America, I don't think. And he'll come home and tell me, he's like, "You're soft now because the way we talk at work, like you could never handle it." I'm like, "First of all, I'll throw down with you guys like all day,
easy,
but like
y'all
aren't going to end up in HR, and I will." So,
good point.
But he's a great dude.
Railroad.
He's my favorite person.
I know.
That's great.
I'm the same though, where I'm just all the things. And I'm like, this is like a therapy session for me. To be honest with you, I'm listening to both of you guys. And
I think most of the pressure that we put on ourselves is really like from us. So it's like, why?
Yeah, nobody gives a fuck.
I'm saying,
nobody
else
what are you
going to ground yourself?
Exactly.
Like, what are you going to like? Are you in trouble? Like, you're not going to be in trouble.
Right.
Like,
Right.
Just do one thing at a time and don't hate your life.
Right. And it originates with the self-talk. Just like you're saying, that's an important thing at home and it's an important thing at work. You're not going to be able to accomplish something if you tell yourself that you're terrible at your job, or that you're an imposter.
Yep. And it's I'm fortunate. Brown and Brown we have internal groups. They're called teammate resource groups, TRGs, and we have one for women. It's called the Power of She. I'm involved with that. I'm actually speaking on an internal meeting about challenging fears in public speaking.
You don't know anything about that. Why would you talk about that?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, if I can do it, you can do it. But we have a mentor program, and I signed up. I wanted a mentor, and I wanted to be a mentor.
Yeah.
and there's so many people involved in it. I ended up with a mentee, and it is fabulous. Like, I mean, I adore her. I think she's a powerhouse. I love talking to her, and I've learned that I get so much out of being a mentor for someone, especially when you have somebody that's like, that has such a incredible future, like it's undefined and it's all the things. So that has led to, I actually have external mentees now, which was like the best ask I'd ever gotten. Someone was like, is it okay if I send so-and-so that I work with to you to be a mentor, or for, you know, me to be their mentor? And I was like, yeah, hell yeah, that's awesome. Like, somebody wants my pep talk for an hour, like, hell yeah, I would love that. And something that I really just want them to tell me what's going on, and then I'm there to like be a friend, be a bestie, right? And encourage them. But I do take the chance to, like, when they're saying certain things, I'm like, what I would love for you is, instead of disqualifying yourself in your statement, just say the thing. Like, don't say like, if you think it's okay, if this makes sense. I'm like,
this is stupid, but
out. Like, say the thing. And then shut up. Because that's one thing we learned in training at Brown & Brown. Like, there is so much power in the silence. So don't disqualify before you make your ask. Like, just ask the thing and then shut up. And then the first person that talks loses, right? So you have to, like,
turned into a business development 101 podcast.
I do that too.
Absolutely. So how do people find you on the web and experience your personal brand?
And Helm and all the organizations. I want to share it all.
So I am definitely on LinkedIn.
Massively.
Like, I live there and I love it. And then I'm on Instagram at Hey Hold That Door.
Hold that door. Right. That's right. I wanted to talk about that. I love that idea. Talk about Hey Hold Your Door real quick. So where'd that come from and what is it all about?
So someone I work with had suggested about a year ago that I do a podcast, and I'm technically a millennial, but I'm an elder millennial.
Are you a millennial like me? I'm 78.
I'm 81.
You're a millennial then. It
79
goes to 82.
Here. Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I was like, I don't have that.
Am I saying it wrong? Zillennial? What am I saying?
Elder millennial, zennial, they're the same thing. It's a blend of Gen X and millennial.
Exactly.
Well, when my husband's like, you're a millennial, I was like, well, I identify as a Gen Xer, and he's like, that's the most millennial shit you could have said.
What is he?
He's 1980, so he's a Gen Xer.
Okay, yeah.
But
barely. Right.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
You guys, he can listen to this, but he's like, whatever. He'll be like, F you guys, I'm a Gen Xer. But so somebody has suggested that I do a podcast.
Yeah.
And I was like, do I have to like pay to do that? Like, what is that? Like, I hadn't.
No,
I was
we
like,
can
I just
help you
like
with that.
free radio.
Let's
like,
go.
how does all that work? But then I put that on my goals because I was like, that's scary. I should do that. So this is a very formal setup. I just grip it and rip it at home. Like, I film it on my phone, send it to the laptop, and then I just recorded little 15-minute.
Smart.
They're kind of like long pep talks. But I have the same name. It's Hey Hold That Door. It's on Spotify. Then I'm Hey Hold That Door on LinkedIn. And that comes from like our family motto, don't be a dick, right? So it's like, hey, hold that door. Like, I'm coming through the door, right? So like, hold the door for the person behind you. And then specifically for women, as we get into spaces that we haven't been in, that maybe we're not welcome in yet, like, hold the door for the next one.
You bet.
Because that's like my biggest gripe with women in corporate America or whatever it is like, I want to work for a woman who wants to help me. And not like in a self-serving way. I just want to work with a woman who sees my grit and my determination and wants to reward that, right? And seeing women who are cutthroat specifically with other women, like, there's room for more than one at the table, you know? Right. So that's really like that driver there is like, I want to get into a position where I can help other people that I think will make the team better and stronger. So I bet that's like all this overlapping branding stuff that I'm trying to do with like raising ass kickers that are kind and being brave enough to fail and caring enough to say the hard things. Like,
that's beautiful.
That's what we're trying to do.
How do people find out about Helm and TEDx Charleston?
So TEDx Charleston is actually, I'm glad that you brought that up because I'm working with them again this year. So we are looking for repeat sponsors, new sponsors, things like that. So you can definitely reach out to me about that. All things with TEDx, I can connect you to who you need to talk to. And then as far as the Helm goes, 100% hit me up because I am the resident hype girl for the Helm. Like, I'm a huge fan. I've seen it do amazing things. So if you're interested in that, definitely come and talk to me. We have all of our meetings are down at the Harbor Club, which there are worse places to spend your time.
You bet.
Like, the Harbor Club is fabulous.
Oh, I love
Beautiful
the Harbor Club.
Love it. Yeah. So all of our meetings are there. We do coffee meetings, luncheons, and happy hours. So we move them around so that if people can't make a certain time of day. Hopefully they can meet the other ones, but our programming is spot on. Like, it's so good.
I know a few women that if you are not in your Helm already, need to be in your Helm. And
it's amazing how many women
will
literally explain what's missing in their life, and I'm like, I got it. Like, we have it,
right?
And like, you would love to sit with us. Like,
yes.
it's a really good space, and for the women who really love it, it is like, it just makes them blossom. Like, it's incredible.
Is there a .com? Or no, was there a Facebook?
I think if you Google the Helm Collective, I wish that I had that together before I came in, but it's Chief Matriarch, I think is what the website is, what it pops up as. But
interwebs right now, the Helm
Charleston.
Does anybody else have trouble spelling Charleston? I always have trouble spelling Charleston.
Just you, Mike.
I think that's like the old
That's
one.
not it.
I think it's this one.
This one here?
Yeah, because that's
with two ladies smiling.
That's me and Amy. We're planning the summit.
That's great. So it's at Helm Charleston is the Instagram.
Yep.
That's great. Very cool.
Nice.
Let's spread the love. Get the word out there. Thanks for your time.
No, thank you guys. I appreciate it so much.
I had a good time. Tom didn't like it. I don't think he had a good time.
I loved every last bit of it,
such
Brenna.
a
Don't
good
let
job.
him tell you any lies.
Nice.
Thanks, Tom.
You bet.
Appreciate you.
Thanks,
My
Tom.
pleasure.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Brenna. Thank you to the Charleston Media Solutions. Thank you, Matthew Miracle Chase, for the sound engineering. I better sound perfect. This is Mike Compton signing off. Thanks, y'all.